Hi, this is David Landis with Landis Communications, and we're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. And I'm so excited as part of our 3 for 30 series to have one of my dearest friends and clients, Dian Harrison, who we worked with at Planned Parenthood. Diane, welcome to the show today. Thank you so much for joining us.
David, it's good to see you, and thank you for having me. It's been a while, actually too long.
It's been way too long. I mean, I think we love jazz music and we used to go to the clubs together, and
Other,
now
right?
everything is like shut down. So I guess we'll have to wait a little bit, right?
Yeah, we will, but we'll be sure to do it when it opens up.
Absolutely. A martini in the offing, right?
Yes, yes.
So tell me a little bit about our experience working together, where we met, and our work together at Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's been 30 years because I believe we've worked together for 20 or longer.
Probably,
Pretty
probably.
long. Yeah, but the reason why we were in touch is because we had just finished a merger of three of the Bay Area Planned Parenthood affiliates into one that became Planned Parenthood Golden Gate. And in fact, my board president at the time was the one she's my mentor coach and a dear friend of both David and myself. Said, maybe we should contact a PR firm, someone that can help you develop the communications plan, not only for externally, as a new organization, but internally, because when you go through changes like that, your staff is kind of on edge and you really want to know what's happening. So she put me in touch with David Landis at Landis, and I met with him and we talked about what our needs were, and it was a great thing. Nonprofits don't normally do that, and I'm glad she encouraged me to reach out to you, David.
Well, thank you very much. It was a time of change for the organization, and to take three separate entities and make them one was both an internal communications challenge as well as probably an external
Sure.
communications challenge,
Right.
right?
It was because when you have three different organizations, you have three different staff, you have three different three sets of volunteers and donors, and of course there was a way that we brought them together to collaborate in this entire process, um, so that they understood why we were doing it, and were involved in creating the new mission, the new name, the integration of staff and volunteers and board members. But even with that happening, there's still an angst about what's really going on here. Is it an organization that's gonna survive? Are they going to continue to meet their mission? And so, being able to effectively engage them in a way that would keep them involved in the organization was important, and communication is a way to do that.
And the external audiences, I think, are so important too for your fundraising, your donor base,
Right.
in general reputation. When organizations go through change, it's easy for the public to say, "Oh, is something going wrong here?" Rather
Right.
than, "Wow, this
Right.
is going to give us better resources and spread out throughout the Bay Area in a way that we can really service our patients and our folks so much better," right?
Right. Yeah, and so the brand, we had to go through a process of rebranding. We were no longer three different organizations. We were one large organization. And I think that with that rebranding, we needed to create awareness that, number one, we were still there, and we were still going to do what our mission says we needed to do for our communities. And we needed to create a sense of awareness of the organization is here. It may have looked this way, but now it looks this way, but we're still one organization, and our goal is to provide services. And so in working with you and your corporation or your company, you helped us to do that. because, you know, we went through the logo change, we went through all of that. And then we had to make sure that we were able to say to people, hey, we're here. Our reputation is still strong.
Right.
You know, the brand may look a little bit different, but, you know, this is the way we're rebranding to ensure that you're still getting the services that you need. And we couldn't have done that alone. I'm going to be honest. We
Well,
had not a clue where to start. So,
you know, one of the things I'm most proud of is during that time, I remember you really had this vision that we should talk about the organization differently, that we shouldn't let the public define us only as an abortion service provider. And really, you also grew the organization to provide general health services
right.
to women, but also to men and to children. And I think that is a great accomplishment, Diane.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. And it was always my vision that for Planned Parenthood that we allowed somebody else to basically brand us. And by, you know, pulling the organization together and working with you and your staff, we were able to rebrand in a way that said, you know, yes, women need reproductive health, but they also need, you know, other services too to ensure that they can effectively take that birth control pill if that's what they choose to do. But you know that there are issues of hypertension, there are issues of asthma, there are issues of diabetes, all those kinds of things that adversely affect communities of color and low income communities. We call them the medically underserved, that we needed to address to ensure that their birth control was effective enough for them to be able to take it safely.
Mhm.
And then we extended that to men and boys. You know, when you're in a relationship that takes two of you, um, and so we wanted to be able to provide those services to the entire community in a holistic way.
And sometimes some of those people, Planned Parenthood was the only place where they could go to get their health care. You
Right.
know, not a country where we provide universal health care. And we certainly didn't, even San Francisco didn't have universal health care back then. So you were providing an essential service.
Right, yeah, and you're right. You know, and people said, well, you know, people could go to the public health department, but historically, you know, we all know that there was a barrier, sometimes barriers to go into the public health department. You know, sometimes individuals just want to come to a smaller clinic site where they can receive what they believe to be individual attention in a timely manner. And
Mhm.
so, you know, we weren't competing with the public health department. We felt as though we were providing an alternative for individuals that may not want to use the system or didn't have time to wait to get an appointment, and they could come
And
to us.
and it was safe and it was a name they trusted. You
Right.
know, it's a big decision when women decide about their reproductive health. So, you know, making sure the brand had credibility was really key, very key.
Right. And that's one reason that, you know, we decided to work with you because public relations, you know, those are the things that you worked with us on. It was develop awareness. It was to be, you know, develop that loyalty to the brand that we were recreating basically. And, you know, it really helped to increase our reputation in the community. And it's strengthened our community, what I consider to be, um, look, you know, I mean, you know, people saw us as a place to come. And so, you know, when you help to build that reputation, that awareness, reputation, and that loyalty, that's all a part of the branding that comes along with, you know, working with a PR professional. And it also at the time, even though we weren't totally online, but it did help to increase, you know, awareness of our online presence so that, you know, individuals that came to us for their health care could always go online and get information about other health topics. The educational part was an important part of what we did at Planned Parenthood. So you got your health care. If you left the clinic and you still had a question, you could go online and search the topic that you needed an answer to. So
Yeah,
when you came back, you could further get clarification about whatever that might be.
yeah. So that's sort of a good segue to Um, what do you think the role of public relations is for nonprofits or any business for that matter? And how important is it?
It's extremely important. And I believe that I learned from our involvement that, you know, nonprofits tend not to put resources in places like that. But it's really important, especially if you're going through changes within your organization, to be able to use a professional to help you with that branding and that awareness and that loyalty and creating um, you know, the reputation or you know, rebuilding that reputation. If it's something that you've just recently gone through, it's all about change. It's not about increasing profits and sales for the nonprofit, but it's about ensuring that the mission is out there, and that people understand the mission, and that, you know, they understand that they can come to you for whatever their health services might be. And I think working with you helped us to create communications plans, you know, the branding that we needed to do, which was all brand new to us. But, you know, that's something we didn't know. And it was really important to us to have, you know, the ultimate professional guide us through that. And when we, you know, were engaged with you and your firm, you did that for us.
And
And
we
I,
also had a few little crises that we had to deal with too,
yes,
right?
yes, we did. We did. We
I
did.
remember all those bombings of the clinics on the East Coast. And, you know, the message was we wanted to be sure that people knew it was safe to come to a Planned Parenthood clinic in the Bay Area. And we got that message out. And you were right there and you were responsive and so articulate, but we were ready for them, right?
We were ready for them. And I think that's one of the things that people don't seem to plan for. You can plan for a communications, you know, for your communications, both internally and externally, but you really have to take it a step further and have in place that communications or crisis plan
Mhm.
that, and because we were Planned Parenthood, in addition to clinic bombings, you know, we had doctors and staff members being shot and killed back east. Fortunately, you know, that's gone away, and we didn't experience that here on the West Coast. But you have to be prepared for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the importance of a crisis plan was not only for the communities that we serve, but it was for our staff, you know, because they were committed to the mission. They were committed to coming to work every day to ensure that people, you know, receive those services, but they wanted to feel safe too. Um, and so going through that process with you and having those plans in place was essential to continuing to provide those services in our communities.
Well, thank you. Any final thoughts you have about our big milestone here?
Yeah, you know what? When you said 30 years, I almost fell out of my chair.
Me too.
Yeah, that means I'm getting older.
No, no, no. You'll always be young. And if you're always young, I'm always young, right?
Yes, but it's important that, you know, that you built the kind of firm in this community, in all of our communities, that people feel safe with and comfortable with, and will reach out to you when they need something to happen that they don't know about. I found in working with you that not only did you help us develop the plans that we needed, the branding, communications, crisis communications, all that, but you educated us about the importance of being able to do that. And when you have that kind of relationship, I think it's important that you be able to learn as well. So thank you for that. We couldn't have done it without you. We
Oh
really
my
couldn't have
God.
done it
It was
without
totally my pleasure. And I didn't mention this to you, but as part of our 30th anniversary, every day in October, we're going to donate $300 to another nonprofit. Isn't that nice? Yeah,
Well,
so
see, and see, that's the other thing about you and your firm. You give back to your community.
yeah,
Just think about the organizations that have been around for 40 years and they do nothing for their community.
yeah.
So, and I know in keeping up with you that you've served on community nonprofit boards of directors. I mean, kudos to you and your organization for doing that, because you're a part of us.
Yes.
Uh, and it's
I,
important.
you know, I always felt that business didn't just become successful on its own. It it only becomes successful because of the community. So therefore, you have to give back. It's
Yes.
just it's a requirement, and
Yeah.
it's good business too. It's good
Yeah.
business.
Right.
So,
Well,
well, thank you, Diane. It's such a pleasure to see you. I'm just
it's great to see you.
totally delighted, and I'll look forward to the time that we can actually meet in person. But thank you again for joining us.
All right, David, you take care.
You too. Bye bye now.
Bye.